Hello, everybody. I hope you're doing very well today, and I am looking forward to bringing forth all of the messages here for the collective. If it's your first time here, you picked a perfect time to join because the way that a collective works is by all of us being present, the energy is stronger. I already felt that this morning. I had a lot of dream messages coming through, and what I'll be doing for us today is helping us focus on basically making a breakthrough. This is a chance for us to get through anything that might be causing stagnation in your life and really creating this sort of dance of creation. Sorry, one of Apollo's hairs got in my face there. So I had a really interesting dream energy that came through, and it was a dragon energy, which I don't work with that often. But as I was meditating on it afterwards, what it really was showing me was this sort of new cycle. And I've been so busy this week that just before the reading started, I was researching the lunar phase. We're right on the precipice of a full moon, I believe, right? The pink moon. And so this all makes a lot of sense. The intense dreams, the focus on cyclical energy and starting and stopping new things. And I'm here to help you out today. So let me put Apollo down so I can get started. And we'll chat a little more. I'll bring him up maybe at the end so you can see him. So let's get started here. Let me just turn off my email so that's not making noise. All right, so this is what we're gonna do today. First and foremost, we're gonna start with some channeled messages. I'll give you a quick preview. We have a lot of them this morning. The way that I arrive at those channeled messages is through a combination of different methods. I meditate, I get it in dreams, and I also, through the act of automatic writing, receive additional messages. A lot of today's came from dream energy from last night. Almost all of it was based somehow on things that I was getting through dreams. I went to bed really early, and I woke up every 2 or 3 hours and put stuff into my phone. So I did my best to consolidate it here, and I'll talk about that. After I get through the channeled messages, we're going to go into a collective general. And unlike some of the other channels out there, I don't go every single sign. It's everyone that's here is going to receive the message. So we'll collectively look at a general reading, and I'll move through all aspects of the next 6 to 8 weeks for all of us energetically. So this will include health, wealth, love, and destiny in the expanded forecast, plus whatever we need to focus on in that main general spread. After this, I'd like to do something special today. These collective readings always afford me an opportunity to deviate from the normal way that I do a reading. So what we'll do next is look at what you can release towards this full moon that's coming up. And then because I'm reading for the month that's coming through, after that, then what can you start new as we look at the month of May? So we'll have a little bit of April, a little bit of May here, things that you can let go of and things that you can create. And then we're going to use a dragon in the meditation, dragon energy, which, you know, there's so many different ways that we look at ascended masters and higher energies in the universe. You know, we create deities in different forms. So dragon energy can be the same as archangelic energy. It's just another word. But the figure that came to me today was a dragon, and we're going to talk about that now. So a couple notes before I get started. First and foremost, welcome everybody. Again, everybody's welcome. If you like what you see here, you can check out all of your sun, rising, and moon signs. They're all up for the month of both April and May. They're on my main channel page. If you'd like to show support, I already see some folks doing it here. You can use this super chat icon. It will allow me to continue to create new cards, new supplies, do other things in the future, like podcasts and things. It just helps support the content that you see here. If you happen to be watching this later on replay, there's another way that you can give back. It's through the applaud button. It's between the share and the like buttons as well. And if it's your first time here and you like what you see, one thing that can help the channel a lot is if you hit the thumbs up. You only have to do that once. If you do it twice, it undoes it. So if you like the video, hit thumbs up once, subscribe, because this month, actually, I'm going to be doing a couple of bonus readings this week, or a couple bonus videos. One on Apollo, whose adoption date just passed. He's been with me for 4 years. So I'm going to do a little special video on him and how he found his way into my life and vice versa. And then I'm going to possibly do something towards the end of the week on dream interpretation, because I get a lot of questions about that. And it is something that I've developed over the past few years. So I'll talk a little bit about that. Plus, maybe I'll delve into some other topics. So we'll see. Those are not announced. So you'll want to subscribe and you'll want to opt into notifications if you haven't already done so. All right, let's get to today's collective reading. So good to see you. Okay, so I've tried to break it down into a few different things today. It was unusual the way that it came through, but your totem is actually going to be the dragon, which I'll talk about. The element that was associated with this dragon was air or wind, and it was divine feminine energy, receptive energy, and she was talking about dancing. She introduced herself to me as a dancer, and what she was indicating that it was kind of like a projection. Some of you may have gotten to a point where you've kind of like fallen down or haven't had a chance to do what you want to do. It's like she said, I haven't been able to dance, or she felt injured in some way. So I read her cards, which was really me reading your cards. So I'm going to talk about what she helped me see for the collective. So again, it was a woman, but she was a dragon. And when she gave me her card, I saw her aspect, which was a dragon on the card. She didn't give me her name though, and I forgot to ask. Fun side fact, if you meet anyone in a dream and it's lucid and usually I always ask, but in this one I was kind of distracted on looking at the cards and memorizing them, which I was able to do so that I could give it to you. But anyway, if you're in a dream and you meet an ascended master, an angel, or some other sort of spirit energy, you can always ask its name and its purpose. She identified herself as being there to help, to heal, and to dance, but I didn't get her name. So for anybody that's familiar with, it struck me as either Chinese or Japanese mythology. I need to read up more on that. This was a dragon associated with the air, the element of air or wind, and she was a sword wielder as well. She said, I have it in my history, so she may not be the deity of the wind or the air, but she said that's part of me. And then she had swords, and she wanted to dance again, is what she was talking about. And let's talk a little bit about the cards that I pulled for her and actually for you. So there were, I can sometimes have a photographic memory between, that's how I do what I do here, so I can remember where the card placements are. So if I wake up and write stuff down quickly enough, when it comes to cards, I can remember, and I remembered all the cards that I pulled for her. So I pulled the Death card, the Strength card, the Six of Wands, the Two of Pentacles, and the Ace of Wands. And then I talked to her about what that meant. So we're gonna go through all of these here. We'll start with Death. So for all of you, this is a time to evaluate your situation. This is very dragon energy-like. It's either basically you're going to make a change or the universe is going to change things for you. So what she came through to kind of show us here, our dragon friend, was that you can get ahead of the tower, or you can become the world instead of the tower. Because a world is that, it's an end and a beginning. And because it's the last card in the major arcana, and then we reset to the Fool afterwards. But with the Death energy, you get to transform and go in whatever direction you want. If you don't do something, however, you invite the tower in. You invite something else in. So this is a chance, if you're feeling stagnation in your life, to decide to make the change now. If you've been procrastinating, if you've been hesitating or fearing whatever that change could or would be, for better or for worse, this dragon-like energy came through and said, time to breathe some life into this new chapter in your life. Release what no longer serves you, and really focus on movement. She didn't want to stand still anymore, and she's also relaying that to you. It's time to start moving, right? Okay, the next piece of this, when I was looking at what this meant for the collective here, was the Strength card. And some of you might be nursing a physical ailment, but you could also be nursing some sort of an emotional weakness or vulnerability. This is the time to strengthen it. This is the time to heal and rebuild upon that. It kind of felt to me like the equivalent of physical therapy, but for your soul. So this is the time to really go in there and work through whatever it is that's triggering you. So she was a dancer, like I said. Dance could actually be something that's very good for some of you. It doesn't matter if you dance well or not. It's just like singing at home or writing, whatever. It's the act of doing it that is going to help. It's also a metaphor because dreams are metaphors. So when I'm looking at dancing, we're looking at kind of, sometimes you take the lead, sometimes someone else does. Sometimes it's faster tempo, sometimes it's slower. You're going to basically move with the energy. And for any of you that are choreographers or just have been out dancing before, you have to change how you move based on what's being played. So you're going to have to move with the music right now, and you'll be fine. You just have to try. That's basically what I saw. As long as you're trying, as long as you're moving, you're growing, you're shifting, you're changing. The Six of Wands was really important here because there was a concern, I felt a concern from the collective that there could be some sort of a negative feedback if you decide to take time off. For some of you, this could be something like a leave of absence, right? A sabbatical. For some of you, it could be deciding to take a sick day because you're burned out, or maybe it's time to quit and reset and do something different. What I got was Six of Wands, and Six of Wands carries with it two connotations, or three, many actually. One of them that we would focus on, of course, is success. So success is there for you. But the Six of Wands can also be peer pressure or desire to please, wanting other people to approve of you. All that matters here is that you are happy with and you approve of your own path. The Six of Wands came through less as an indicator of success and more of a litmus test of who you can trust and who's truly your friend. So if you make a change that you need to in your life and people are there for you and they support it, even if it sounds a little weird, you know that you can rely on them. If they are afraid that you might fail, or if they are afraid you might succeed and they're trying to kind of pull you back, then this is an indicator that that's someone that you have to possibly distance yourself a little bit from. Success is there for you. Just make sure that the success has some sort of fulfillment for yourself, because otherwise it's an empty Six of Wands. No amount of money, no amount of applause, no amount of approval will make that Six of Wands worth it for you. Okay, so death, you have to make a change. Strength, you're focusing on doing something that makes you feel stronger, makes you feel better. And then the Six of Wands, it's going to work out because you feel good. You're going to actually also be attracting in new people. As you change, you kind of, we've talked about this before, is energetically you go to a new level. People either meet you at the level or they fall away. Likewise, you have a choice when you're with friends that are either higher or lower to go down or to go up. So I just see new people coming into your life and respecting and applauding that new energy, because the Six of Wands is an active card. It's a person riding on a horse, presenting themselves with this sort of calm demeanor and a sense of knowing. So that's what you want to do. Two of Pentacles. For some of you, there's this worry of, can I do it? Will I make it? The Two of Pentacles it's a tricky card, but it's pretty positive as far as I see. It does require a slight sacrifice or a juggling, because you usually see someone juggling on this. It's saying, I choose this and I'm going to like deprioritize this, or I'm going to put that on the shelf so that I can focus on it and basically take the two and make it an ace. And then that ace can become something much more like the Three of Pentacles or the Six of Pentacles or the Nine of Pentacles. If you try to spread yourself too thin, the Two of Pentacles, it stretches and it breaks. So there's a choice that has to be made, and the choice will lead to expansion, but there is a sacrifice or a delay on something else. So that's the sort of, that's the piece for some of you that can be tricky. It's also just about work-life balance or anything in your life. It could be, love, career, health, just time and energy. How are you balancing everything out? This is the accounting card. And you have to make more difficult choices. You have to be more discerning with the Two of Pentacles versus the Six. Both of them have balance. The Six has scales though, and has a lot more. So it's easier and you have a little bit more like wiggle room with that. But the Two of Pentacles, there is a choice that needs to be made. Some keys on how to kind of do this successfully. Limit your scope. You don't have to do everything for everyone all the time, in other words. Make some choice and stick with it. Don't go back and forth, because the Two of Pentacles can be a little bit about oscillating back and forth. And observe your limits and others, of course. Say no. Say no to things if they don't make sense, if they pull you too thin, basically pull your resources too thin. And what I really liked was the final card that I pulled in the dream state, and it was Ace of Wands. And what I intuited and what I told her was, I said, I see a full recovery, or I see a period of growth that's much stronger in the future. Usually the Ace of Wands is a tree, like a limb of a tree, and you usually see like leaves coming off of it. It's growth. Growth from ideas, growth from vitality within, and just growth overall. So even if you lose something, you gain something more, is what I see. So it's more than a trade-off, it's an upgrade. Anyone that has experienced a health problem has probably seen this happen before. If you're losing sensation or ability in one part of your body, the other part kicks in. Spiritually, this is a lot more, I think, easy to see, because sometimes what happens is, people that have near-death experiences, they get an upgrade by being able to kind of cross partly over the bridge there and the veil, and they come back with more knowledge. Or if you've had an accident, I know few years back, I had like a concussion, I broke my nose, all kinds of stuff happened, but like my third eye opened up in the process too. So sometimes when you have, a challenge in your life like that, it yields this sort of growth period. So I see an upgrade, even if it was a little hard to get to that upgrade, okay? She yields swords. So even though I didn't pull swords, swords came through. And swords, like if we were to think of an ace of swords, would be about speaking your mind, cutting old cords, which we can do a little bit in our meditation, taking action and making a stand, really deciding who you want to be, how you want to show up, and sticking with it. So there is this sort of decisive, active energy, even though it's defined feminine, because she had the swords too, and she had the energy of wind or air, which to me is movement. It's moving you forward. So I really like what she had to share here. And with the wind, move or be moved. This was the message that I received. It's time to step into the dance of creation. If you don't, you're probably going to get pushed into it anyway. So, in examples of jobs, this can sometimes be when you get laid off or there's a furlough or something like that. It was probably a stagnating position and the universe is trying to help you find something else. In a dating situation, it's when someone's not calling you back, or when someone else new comes into your life and you realize that wasn't the right connection anyway. It can also be an opportunity to move for a job, but it's going to require you to kind of upend and uproot yourself and transplant yourself somewhere else. There's this change because wherever you are, whatever you're doing, it's not working. So either you're going to make the change or one's going to be presented to you. Those were the messages from the dragon energy. We're going to revisit the dragon when we do the meditation later. But all in all, a lot that came through, including first time I think I've remembered reading all the cards in a dream. And somehow, because I had to translate all of them to her, I woke up and I remembered them. So there you go. That was very specific. And you're supposed to hear that. Death, strength, 6 of Wands, 2 of Pentacles, Ace of Wands. All right, let's move on to other dream messages that came through for you. The next thing that I saw was a lost traveler at an airport. And really, I feel like some of this is just a question of like, where am I going? So focus on your destination. It's okay to feel lost sometimes, right? It's okay to try to find yourself. But what I think you can do to not feel that sense of discombobulation is to take time each and every day to reset a little bit. Reflect on where you are so that you don't feel like you're lost, how you got to this point, and how you're connecting to your ultimate goal. I wrote here like no spiritual tumbleweed. Sometimes when we're in our day-to-day lives, we just let what happens happen. And that's like, we have the element of wind here today. So you want to be like the clouds, or like the symbolic sort of wind blowing things forward. You don't want to be blown by the wind. Tumbleweed just lands where it lands. So be the element of air. Don't be carried by the air. Okay. So it's direction. Pick a direction and keep moving. And sometimes you have to even go against the flow. But if you're in control, you're going to be okay here. Okay, the next thing was very specific, and this was, I'll talk about the dream and then I'll talk about how I distilled it. I saw you meeting up with somebody. It felt like it was an older connection, not somebody new. I saw 2 meetings that came forth because of this meeting. One was really great, one was not as good as the first, but the person was putting in the same amount of effort. And they felt really bad that there wasn't a thank you or gratitude in the second exchange. So if we just kind of like distill this, if there's someone in your life, maybe it's a child, maybe it's a coworker, maybe it's your partner, and they're usually someone that you can depend on, and they just fall short in one situation. Look at the overall batting average for that person. I put the track record here, but like batting average, and look at the overall hard work. If they've done well and they were trying to do well, help them gain perspective, because they seem to be taking it harder themselves. They don't need to hear that they did a poor job. They need to hear that, hey, I know that didn't go as well as you wanted, but I appreciate the work. I see you worked hard. You can't control everything. You're not perfect. Is there anything I can do to help? At the very least, I thought it was amazing and I had, a great time or whatever. So express gratitude, show support, and help. It's much nicer to step in than to just criticize. I know that those of you that put your work out there on a regular basis, whether you like, maybe you're an interior decorator, a party planner, maybe you're on social media, maybe you're a writer, an artist, whatever. You get a lot of feedback, a lot. It's not all nice. And so it's good when someone that you really care about can just say, hey, I get it. Let's just go. Let's decompress. Let's not even talk about this right now. It feels like you just need a break. Why don't we watch a movie, have some dinner, and like just chill out here. help them get their mind off things, and then help them feel supported. I feel like you could need it, someone else could need it. And there's just a general message here that perfection isn't always the purpose. That person could have been calling in a lesson to realize that, you know, sometimes you can give it your all and there's still going to be some sort of external factor that comes in. And then what this is really a chance to see is who they can rely on, which is you, hopefully, or vice versa. Maybe someone in your life shows up and they come through on a, isn't it nice when you're not at your best and someone's there for you? Because the fair weather friends, you can find them anywhere, but the ones that are there that just really, really care, that's the one that you would, you know, go to the ends of the world to help. So I feel like it's really trying to sort that little piece out. That's what's really important there. All right. Let's see. Okay, this next image was also very specific. I believe that this is more for those of you that are working. It doesn't have to be in a job. Could be also a course of study. If you're retired, it could just be sort of the place that you've painted yourself into. But what I saw was that you had reached some level of success, but you were behind the closed doors. It's like life was going on outside, almost like maybe what someone who is, you know, a king or queen might feel, where they're no longer part of the day-to-day life. They become removed from it. And there was a desire, a longing to get back to something real. So there was some sort of artifice with the position, with the achievement, the lack of fulfillment, which I was talking about with Six of Wands. This could be what it is. So if you're at a career where you have lost connection with your passion, then it's time to sort of open that door, create a new one, to get past that longing. I felt that you were kind of relaying to me that you were trapped, or you were uncertain of how to get out of this. You just have to start opening some doors and have to start moving forward. Feel that you can do it, try something new, and something new will happen. And yeah, I'm getting a question, is this a general collective? It says it in the title, this is a general collective. All right, next question, or the next piece that came through. This was really interesting. This has to do possibly about, I mean, it could be taken literally just about focusing on eating healthy and being healthy. But I actually think it has to do with accountability. So I saw this sort of impulse to put your hand in a cookie jar and eat something that you know you shouldn't have, and everyone else was doing it, so you thought you could do the same. Don't give into that pressure, and try to avoid any sort of filler energy that might be stepping through in your life right now. Fill it with something deeper. A lot of times when we go for anything, it could be, you know, alcohol, cigarettes, food. It is a filler to fill some other bigger void that we need to focus on. So this is really why the Strength card came through in the meditation or in my dream earlier. It's to focus on getting yourself in a stronger place so that you don't feel like you have to do that, right? The other thing that I saw, kind of continuing with the candy scene, I saw someone trying to steal candy from a store, basically, but it got caught. It was on video. The person, however, tried to shift the blame and tried to kind of make it something that it wasn't. What you want to do here, and I'll show these cards later, I just kind of want to move through this because we have a lot to talk about today. You have to hold other people accountable and let them know that you see them. Also let them know that you see their potential. This is important for kids especially. Just because a kid or anyone in your life makes a poor decision, it doesn't mean that they are defined by one moment in time. And this is sometimes where we go wrong, even with how we treat people. We just assume that if you made that mistake once, you're always that person. So particularly for children, if they fall down, you help them get up and you help them see how not to fall down again. I'm speaking in metaphors here. Do that for everyone in your life. Give them a chance. If they keep showing up and they keep sort of falling short of expectations, or they're trying to steal or kind of become the character in the Seven of Swords, which is deception, then obviously you need to separate yourself from that person. But I think we always should give someone a chance to be better than they are. And then you might be surprised by what happens and how they might grow, okay? 2 more messages, and then we're gonna get into pulling cards for the month ahead here. Again, all signs welcome. This is really important if you're gonna step into something new. I said, don't apologize or sell yourself short when making a key pivot in your career or your life. See yourself as successful and allow others to do the same. If you are saying, here's a great example. Let's say you've just moved from one career to another and you're defining yourself by that previous career. That tells me that you haven't quite integrated into what you're doing now. When I first left corporate, I would say, oh, I used to do this, this, and this. And I'm like, no, I'm an intuitive coach. I'm a reader. I read tarot cards. I write books. I do fun things. So identify by who you are, not who you were, because otherwise you're not living in the present and you're casting doubt upon the trajectory that you're taking. It's natural and it's normal sometimes because you have no maybe sort of, you might not have a track record as you're entering into something new. So sometimes it makes sense, but you shouldn't be staying too long looking in the background of what you used to do. Focus on what you're doing, talk about the excitement about why you're doing it, and show that you have faith, vision, and courage to go towards that. If you do that, other people are excited and think, well, that sounds cool, keep me posted. If you're otherwise, they'll say like, well, why did you leave the other thing? Are you sure you're gonna do it? They can start to get into your headspace. So don't even talk about that. Just talk about how you've embarked on this new path in your life. It's much stronger. It's much more powerful to do that, okay? I'm gonna stack up all of these cards that I just pulled. We're gonna revisit them. Actually, for this one, I don't think we need to revisit them because we have so much to talk about. I think I covered everything, but as I do the reading, if I feel like I wanna come back to some of these cards, I will. I usually don't do a major recap in the collectives or we would be talking for like hours. So I will post a picture and a recap in the description below and also on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and my website. So there's lots of places to see it. On YouTube, it'll be in the community tab. So let's take a look now at what's coming through. The general portion is going to kind of help us just see what we're bringing to the equation. If I do a general reading for a client, I like to see where they're at now and what's going on around them and where they're headed. So this is a pulse check. Even if you've looked at your specific sun, rising, moon, Venus readings for this month, this is just a little bit more deeper on the soul level to see how am I tracking overall. And because we have a full moon that's coming up, this is going to really help us get set up for the next piece, which will be what to let go of and then what to create. But we have to first figure out what you've got before we can look at those latter two. All right, so I'm going to work with a new deck that I've purchased. I've been using it sporadically this month. It's the Prisma Visions one. I'll add it to my website. I haven't done that yet, but I will. Let's take a look and see. Again, this is going to be general. I don't break it out into 12 signs because I just did that all month long. I feel like today we're together and we're focusing on the collective energy of the planet. We're all living here together. So there are times when it makes sense to look at collective energy, and today's one of those days. So we're not going to segregate by sign. We're going to look at it together. We're going to come together and try to work together on all of the messages here. Okay, you have two here, so we'll talk about those. Okay, and let's take a look at the cards. And again, remembering what I said back when I was looking at the channeled messages, this is our chance to figure out like how to dance again, how to get back into the energy of recovery and creation, which we have the Ace of Wands here in the deep past, which is cool, and we'll talk about that. All right, first things first, let's look at your catalyst cards. There were two, they were stuck together. I decided to kind of go with both of them. Okay. So the thread card is on top. We're going to do that. And then there's the desert underneath. So when I look at the thread, everything begins with a decision, ultimately, a feeling, an intuition. And it's what we decide to do with that, how we decide to thread that into our lives, that matters the most. The other thing with the thread, for some of you, this is going to be what we do in the closing meditation with a cord cutting, basically. And how much are you holding on to an old part of yourself? How much is someone else trying to hold on to you? We're going to do our best to get rid of that sort of persistent energy. And we've all experienced someone like that or something like that. Even when you say no, even when you ignore whatever that is, it just keeps hanging on. This is a chance to let go of that and to send a clear message that you're ready to be liberated, to move on, to be free. We're going to untether. On the flip side of it, you're going to replace that and create something new. Like a weaver, you're going to go in and start to weave. And once you take that thread out, you have room to add to your own tapestry in your life. So we see a period of struggle, and then we see the beautiful rainbow there at the top. So we're going to get to the rainbow today as we look at the cards. The desert card, I like this. This reminds me of like the Queen of Wands or the King of Wands, because I believe that you can create what you need, and you have the Magician here. You can create what you need, and it's great because we've got the Moon card there too, or the moon in the background. Like the Queen of Wands, you're magic. You can create, you can bring things forth. So in this particular card, we're seeing that it's important for you to reach up, to get out of this feeling of being stuck, and find your way back to the light, find your way back to something great, to see birth or rebirth or creation here. But there is this sort of reaching out or reaching up energy. You're not alone, you're not an island, and you are, however, capable of doing something great, but it requires that action. So let's look at the cards today and see where you can take the action to get past the desert and maybe get to the oasis, right? All right, let's begin with your center card. It's the Chariot. And I really like this reinterpretation of the Chariot. We see a little dove here as the car is going through the wind, or through the rainstorm, rather. So for many of you, this is really about, I was talking about the metaphor of being lost in the airport. Keeping your vision and keeping your sort of direction with you, even when you have stormy weather, even when you're uncertain, you're being led. That's what that dove is there for. It's showing that you're being divinely guided. It's not just this, but it's also this. So it's our third eye plus our actual eyes. So you could see that in the same sort of metaphor. You are not being controlled. You are the driver. You are being led and influenced, but you always have free will. And that's one of the cool things about this planet. That's why we come to this planet so many times. There are a lot of different planets and dimensions and different ways of existing in this massive universe. And we keep coming back here for a reason, and it's because we can drive where we want to go and we can learn new things. And so the question here is, where are you going? What do you want to do? And are you ready to take the driving wheel and steer in the direction that you want to go? You have guidance, you have skill, you have capacity. Are you ready? If you're ready, some cool things are coming. What might be tested this month is your willingness to drive, your willingness to steer the chariot. And we'll look at that in just a moment as we go into the other cards here. Tempering this one, we have the Ace of Cups. I love the Ace of Cups. This is great. This is showing me that for you, and also the divine energy that I saw this morning, I said it was receptive, divine feminine. So I definitely get that with this particular card here. So if you're ready to receive, then I see abundance here, because that's what Ace of Cups is. It's really good for new relationships. Of course, this is one of the cards that I would look for in a relationship spread for are you ready? And if it's smack dab in the center, I would say yes. The one thing that looks like there's a little bit of residual energy around this is control. So when it comes to passion, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to emotions, the thing that you have to do is figure out what's controlling what. Are the emotions controlling you? Are you channeling the emotions? And that would hit all aspects of your life, whether or not you're in love. So figuring out how to harness would be a better way, how to kind of like, this is where the chariot would probably be a little bit better, but how you can take that and figure out how to steer the passion that you have in your life. So passion's a big part of where you're at right here, right now. So if you're not feeling it, you shouldn't be doing it. Like whatever is going on in your life, if you're lacking that, or you have to figure out how to spark it again. So as we look in the deep past, I have the Ace of Wands, which is good. That's what I saw in the meditation earlier, in the dream earlier. Ace of Wands is great, but the card was reversed. So as a reversed Ace of Wands, there are a few things that we want to be cognizant of. Since this is deep past, it's things that you're still sorting through right now, possibly because we're looking at this kind of in the month ahead. So with this, if you're still struggling with it, it could be a feeling of a lack of energy. Like you get up in the morning and you think, how am I going to do this? Or, oh my gosh, tomorrow's Monday, or is it Friday yet? If you notice or hear yourself saying that, or like, gosh, is it 6 o'clock? You're wishing time away. You're wishing your life away, and that's not a good thing. So find a way to figure out what it is that's making you so lethargic, or why you don't want to be present in the current situation. If this can also be about overthinking or not giving enough credit to yourself if you have a new idea. Trust what you know, trust what you feel, and you should feel this sense of excitement, of exuberation when it comes to things in your life. Like, I can't wait to get started on this project. I can't wait till people see what I've been working on. I can't wait to talk to you again. There should be a sense of anticipation. If the anticipation is lost, find a way to spark that joy, that anticipation, that excitement again. It's not lost. It just feels like it could be buried a little bit, maybe under even someone else trying to control you or hold you back. So get in touch with your two ace cards here, the Ace of Cups, your emotions, and this, which is not, there's a little bit of emotion with this too, but it's also like how your mind is connecting to things. Your mind and your heart have to be in the same place. All right, let's look at recent past. And I believe this is really aligning to the next full moon that we're having. We have the Magician card here. And I'm looking really closely at this. It looks like he has like a little cricket or something in it. But if you look really closely, it's a cool little illustration. But what I would say with this is you always have the capacity to create, and you're only as limited as your imagination on some levels here. So dig deep, find what it is that you want to do, and do it. Your thoughts are alchemic, so if you can't see it, if you can't believe it, others can't. This Magician definitely has lunar overtones, so emotional pieces could be the block for you. When it comes to intuitive development, a lot of times when I talk to clients, the thing that scares them the most is the unknown. They're afraid of what they might connect to or what they might be picking up on, and this is telling you that you want to be more focused with it. A magician knows how to work or how to manipulate the elements. That's why he has all of them. And even in like modern times, we kind of see that as someone who knows how to make something seem like what it isn't, which would mean that you know how to work with illusions. So don't be fooled. You can see through the illusions, basically, okay? And you have the capacity to focus. Focus is the Achilles heel or Achilles tendon of the Magician card, because if he gets distracted, if he isn't paying attention to something, that's when he gets off track. And I felt like actually in the airport, that's what happened, because the person was with the group and then was focusing on something else and then looked up and the group was gone. So don't lose track of what's going on around you. Don't get so distracted by what's going around you that you lose focus. You've got to kind of volley between the two, right? So I feel like you can make it happen, but it just requires focus and balance, which is why Two of Pentacles was what I saw in the meditation. All right, we have here, don't force it. Seven of Wands reversed. Seven of Wands is, generally speaking, positive. It shows me that you can manage everything, but you don't have to. Usually there's a chance to delegate, push back, say no. One thing that I like to say with wands and remind people, this is one where subtractive energy works pretty well. If you take one away from the Seven of Wands, it's success, it's Six of Wands. If you add one to the Seven of Wands, it's the Eight of Wands, which is socializing, abundance, opportunity. So you either need to pull another person on this sort of thing that you're doing, or you need to take something off of your plate so that you can be more successful. You either need assistance or you need to reduce something. And it usually feels like it's about multitasking. So more help or less work, and that's going to make you more successful. So hire someone or get rid of something that you're working on and you'll be better. And in your own life, it's a choice. Like, is this extracurricular activity helping me? Is this friendship worth my time? Will this project yield the results that I think, or should I redirect my energy somewhere else? You're doing a little more than you need to be. You're working too hard with the Seven of Wands. So you need to work smarter, and you need to delegate more, and you need to lean more on other people so that you have more energy and you have more balance, okay? Queen of Cups in reverse. Many of you might be dealing with heightened emotions, heightened sensitivity at this point in time. And with this heightened sensitivity, it gets hard to figure out who you are, where you're at in the equation. And as I was saying earlier for the recovery, when we were looking at the dragon messages that came through, I to feel what you're feeling. I don't think we should ever sweep what I'm going to do about it. And you can work with a professional for that. Okay, sorry, it looks like the connection left for a second, but thankfully came back. So what I would say with this is that you want to focus on figuring out how to really sort out what's important to you, and don't be afraid. The leaning on someone else could be, talking to a psychologist, talking to a friend, and just making sure that you don't give too much or lose too much, right? Okay. Queen of Cups can also be someone coming into your life. If they're coming into your life, the interesting thing is we have two queens, and I like it when we have two queens or two kings or two knights because the energy is evenly matched. But if you're in a key relationship this month, the problem is it feels like one of you is very on top of things. Like Queen of Swords would be communicative, action-based, basically also not really in tune with the emotions necessarily, more in tune with focusing with what's going on. The other one is feeling things really deeply and is probably wondering like why the other partner can't empathize. And that's what I saw happening with the friendship. Remember I mentioned that earlier, that all you have to do is say, I appreciate you, I see you, how are you? And then just listen. So if you are the Queen of Swords type energy, even if it's not your sign, because we're collectively here, if you're the type that normally does the talking, do some of the listening. If you're the one that normally does the action, ask the other person, what do you want? How do you feel? And if they say they don't know, we'll say, why is that? Like, just give them some time to sort it out and feel it out rather than trying to get to the point and jump the shark and go to the next thing. So I see a little bit of tug of war that's going to go on with friendships and relationships this month, where you need to validate other people's emotions. Like, I can see you're having a hard day. What can I do? And then see how they want you to show up. Or if someone's having a rough time, say, do you need advice? Do you want a listening ear? What is it that you need, right? So little tricky there. For you, find a way to channel stuff. And now as we look at your soul this month, it's really good with the Queen of Swords. This is about taking action. And in this particular deck, she's been able to conquer or tie down this beast. So no matter how challenging whatever it is that you're dealing with is, you're going to be okay. You're going to be A-okay, actually, as long as you continue to stand up, speak up, and, stay on top of things, okay? If you're a writer or work with communication, really auspicious placement for this card this month. It's just telling me that you're more convincing than you normally are when it comes to written and spoken communication. So lean into your communication skills, even if this is something you normally feel like I can't do it. You can, and you'll do better this month, actually. Better than you think, better than others expect. That puts you in a good position. It allows for growth to happen. The activity around you is picking up. We have in your environment, we have the Four of Swords card. It's reversed, so that usually shows that you feel like you need rest or you feel like there's a lot going on. For some of you, there could also just be this feeling. Notice how we have the winds of change in this particular card too. For some of you, just feel like I can't get enough sleep, or I feel like I'm not rested. And what you're going to want to be balancing this month through the Seven of Wands is how you can get other people to assist. Speak up and delegate is what we see with the Seven of Wands and the Queen of Swords. She's upright, so that's a very good energy with this as well, okay? Four of Swords reversed also is saying that if there was someone or something in your life that kind of you're going to get confirmation. This person or this thing will either fall away completely or they're going to sporadically jump back. Because again, I'm kind of seeing like a little grasshopper here in this particular card. I'll have to look it up later. But to me, as I look at the Four of Swords, this could be springing back. So there could have been something where you applied for a job or you send out an email or you hadn't heard, you suddenly hear back. Or you get a very clear message like, no, we pass, or you get something returned or whatever. It's a clear message like enough is enough. So the Four of Swords is putting an end to something as well, because it is a death card. Four of Swords, Six of Swords, death. They're all death, but they're death in different connotations. Four is easy does it. And it's usually when there's no communication. Realize no communication is a form of communication. Six of Swords is distancing yourself. It might be harder. Maybe someone's ghosting you a little bit. But Four of Swords means no replies, or like things just getting returned, like it's not happening. So if that happens, that's another message to you. So listen to that. But mostly I look at this and I think, how are you sleeping? How busy are things going on around you? Is there someone else around you that is restless? Because Four of Swords reverse could literally be restless, and you want to temper those things, okay? We have Eight of Swords. This is in the fear area, hopes, fears, and opportunity. So some of you may just have a fear of the unknown. This is also that office that I talked about, because Eight of Swords can represent a prison, a self-imposed prison, or a prison that other people build around you, usually symbolic. So if you feel prison, like you're imprisoned by a job or a relationship or a thought process, this is the month that we're going to go and take those swords out and help you get some clarity and get out of that situation. So don't be afraid to move, because a lot of times the Two and the Eight of Swords are paralyzed. Two of Swords is paralyzed by indecision. There's blinders, there's opportunities behind the person, but they're just sitting there thinking, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. All they have to do is pick a path and keep moving. With the Eight of Swords, it's like, I'm afraid of what might happen. I don't know what's happening. What is happening? It's the unknown. It's fear of what might happen. It's a lot of times built up. It's not accidental that we go from the 8 to the 9, where with Nine of Swords, it's sometimes like you keep yourself up with fears. Fear is a common theme in all of Swords. It's the lower frequency energies that sometimes come through that suit. So fear, doubt, uncertainty, some of the shadows that I talked about in the book that I wrote, you can get past these. You just have to sort of take a risk, take a leap, keep moving. Because, and what a great, great card to end it with here in the spread, we have the Nine of Pentacles here, which I love the star, but I also love the Nine of Pentacles. It's one of my, if I had to pick one of the minor arcana, I like this one a lot. Because it shows that you have the capacity to take care of yourself. You have more than enough. You're independent. And although our trusty snail is missing from this, it also reminds you that it can take time to get there. But when you get there, it feels so good. So don't give up on something that you're working towards, because, you know, success is on the horizon. It's sweet. It's worth it. So keep on keeping on. And we see the growth and abundance as part of this, okay? The only thing that can get in your way with the Nine of Pentacles reversed is an unwillingness to give control, or give, not even just control, but like to listen to someone, because you feel like, I can do it, I want to do it. We have two controlling cards up here, the Seven of Wands, which is you carrying more energy than you need to, and the Nine of Pentacles, which is maybe tuning people out. So one of the things that you want to do is tune in. That's why we have the empathic Queen of Cups reversed. She's saying, no, you've got to listen. You got to listen a little bit more, and you got to feel it a little bit more. So don't isolate yourself is what I see with these cards. But ultimately leading to the Nine of Pentacles, that's good. That's great, actually. So let's expand it to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny now. All right, so starting with health, the first card we have is Twin Flame, really interesting. So with the health card, this normally would indicate to me what you need to do to feel healthy, to be healthy, to let go of something that makes you feel unhealthy. Twin flame energy can be insane. You know, basically there can be a person in your life that you have this really strong energetic bond with, but it's not always about love, by the way. It could just be a partner that is there to teach you. So the twin flame energy would be someone where sometimes divine timing is off a little bit, and you really want that person in your life, but they don't want to be in your life. If we looked at this just sort of generally speaking across all elements of your life, it is about the law of detachment a little bit. So it's good to be able to want, but if you need it, or if you insist on holding on to it, even if something else wants to be free, that's unhealthy. So I want to interpret this twin flame card as a release card. It's reversed. So it's saying if something is divine enough, then it will come back. And if it's not, and if it's divinely decreed to be part of your life, then it will come to you. If not, then release it and allow for the true twin to come through. Because with twin flames, there can be a false twin flame. So something or someone that you meet can make you think that you've found everything that you need, but it's actually a test. So if it doesn't work, it doesn't mean that you're not going to get what you want. It means that you were discerning enough to see through an illusion. And that's what we were talking about here with the magician. So something may seem really, really good. It may seem like everything that you want. It may fall apart. that actually isn't the end. That was just a test if that happened. So in your life, be willing to walk away from something that looks really good, like the candy jar, but isn't. It actually is going to give you a sugar crash afterwards. So either spiritually, literally, or if there's a person in your life and they drive you crazy, it's time to kind of separate yourself. You need to focus on your own strength. You shouldn't be so connected to someone else that that's all that matters, which is part of the reason I don't solely read love. It did come up today. And so the healthiness in the relationships has to be less codependency, basically. And with anything in your life, you can't be solely dependent on that for your happiness, for your health, for your love. And if you're not getting reciprocity from that other thing, common message today, that isn't the thing. Isn't the person, place, or thing. I know it's hard to do. I'm seeing some of the comments. We'll do our best to kind of work through that, but let's look at the cards really quickly to see what you can do to find the balance. So the first thing at the center is, remember, you're driving the car, and it's a control thing. And one of the really, really important things when we look at this is you can't control others' emotions. You can't make them feel something that you feel. If they don't feel it, you can't make it happen. But what you feel is no less valid. It just is basically showing that that's one thing that you can't control. You can influence, you can inspire, but you can't control emotions. And if you do, then it's the devil, right? Because the lovers and the devil have the same sort of energy. The only difference is control and codependency. One is in the Garden of Eden with a beautiful archangel. One has El Diablo behind you and two people chained together. So literally the definition in tarot of controlling and love is the devil. So you don't want that. So let it go, let it be, you'll be okay. Other aspects of health not related to relationship energy this month. The Magician for me is the chemist. The card is upright, so it could just mean that there's an opportunity to, maybe there's vitamins or certain medications that you're taking. There's a way to balance that out a little bit better. Talk to your doctor. Obviously, that's only for professional sort of things, but like it could be something about chemistry in your life, blood chemistry, food chemistry, or what you're eating. So look at diet, medication, and nutrition this month and talk to the appropriate professionals in each one of those areas. But it feels like you could make good strides by balancing that out a little bit. If you're suffering from migraines or headaches, look at stress, because this does feel like it's more stress related, but that's something that, again, a psychologist or general physician can help you with. Also meditation. Try the meditation, try breathing. That should be your go-to first, and then work with the doctors after that. Just kind of breathe yourself through that situation. Your sleep could probably be better than it is with the Four of Swords. So unless you have a reading like I do and you're going to wake up a few times to get messages, you should be sleeping through the night. If there's something that's keeping you up, unless you're older and then it's normal to need less sleep. Some people just need less, but if you've suddenly noticed that you're either feeling restless or tired or you can't sleep, then that's something I want you to focus on. Those are the main things actually with health. So these are much more bigger level stuff. It's not so much with the body. We're seeing sort of restlessness, and we're also seeing codependencies as being things that you want to work through and try to find a way to make peace with, okay? Let's take a look now at your wealth card. Follow your intuition or your instinct here. We have the wolf card. It's interesting here too. You kind of almost see what I was talking about, where someone might be trying to show up differently. We see a two-faced wolf, which also, the dog that guards the underworld, I think isn't it 3 heads? It might be 2, it's 2. Either way, this could also have that sort of devil connotation that I was talking about. So if you feel that somebody is showing up in a way that surprises you, or they're not coming through the way that they're supposed to, trust what you're seeing. This is a revelation. This is them revealing that they have another side, and you want to deal with that as soon as possible. When 7 of Swords energy happens at work, with money, or in anything that has to do with your own development, you have to address it as soon as possible. If you ignore it, you enable it and it grows. So trust your instincts. If you don't want to work somewhere, don't. If you don't want to be working with someone or in a relationship with someone, don't. Follow the instincts, because if you don't, that's when it gets you in trouble. So this is in wealth, which is money, career, and how you're spending your time and energy with others. So there's something that comes through that tells me this isn't for me, or I need to deal with it. So whatever it is for you that comes up, deal with that. What we see here in the cards that you can look at with money is you should be signing the checks. You should be making the decisions, the Chariot. It's literally the control card. And then we have a couple of Queen energies here as well. So don't let emotions get in the way or cloud your judgment. You should honor them. You should understand why you're feeling them. But it feels like this is about staying clear-headed because the Queen of Swords is you. And this is something that comes between you and the clear-headedness. Let's see if there's anything else here. Ultimately, I really like the Nine of Pentacles as the outcome. So it feels like you're on the right track. But there's always a little bit of ambiguity when you step into the unknown, right? And you might be really busy right now and you might need some help. So ask for the help if you need it. For those of you that are retired, what I'm seeing here again is this feeling of maybe not knowing what's next too, with the Eight of Swords. And it's okay. That's the sort of lost at the airport image that I saw earlier. So just try, just explore, just don't put too much weight into the decision if you're just testing something out. The first thing to do is just to kind of reach up and see how it feels, right? Does this feel good to me? Can I do it? Everything starts one thread at a time. Everything that we're wearing, it starts with, the first stitch or something. So it's not going to this is a lot. It's not just one thread. So it takes time to get to where you want to go. All right, as we look at relationships, it's your time to shine. We have the card reverse, but heart chakra beaming out this beautiful radiant energy. And for some of you, it just feels like maybe it's been a while. It's been a while since you've been able to be there. It's been a while since you've been awakened in that part of your mind and your body. So with this, we see this potential right now to shine again. And if we're looking at who might, I'm going to look at it in three different areas. If you're single and happy, the opportunity this month really is pushing towards completion of something here with the Seven of Wands and the Nine of Pentacles. So just finding a way to get what you want and not giving up until you get that. So I see this push that's happening. Emotional state is still going to be heavy for those of you that are single. But so you're going to have to sort out how to deal with a sense of loneliness or anxiety or whatever. Emotions are strong for all of us. But ultimately, if you're single and happy, I see development being the key focus this month. And the only thing that can get in the way is lack of sleep or impatience, and then this fear of the unknown. If you're single and looking, as I said, there's an incompatibility with either a current or future partner that's coming through when it comes to how you talk, how you communicate. One person's more verbal, one's more empathic and listens more. But sometimes what happens with that other person is they can start to build a sense of resentment for you not listening to them. So just because someone lets you talk doesn't mean they want to let you talk. So just check in, let them do some talking, and I think that will really help out. I see evenly met energy, which I like. Just feels like communication needs to be worked on. Some of you could also be dealing with a little bit of depression, you or your partner. So give them time and space to deal with that. Don't force anything. Seven of Wands can be too much, too fast. Easy does it. I do see chemistry and across the board here for everyone. So if you're single and happy, the Magician is magnetic. If you're in a relationship, this means you want to spend a lot of time together and you can kind of rekindle that flame. And if you just met someone, it might start off just sort of more as a chemical thing, and you have to get past the chemical thing and think, what else is there? Is this the right connection? For existing relationships, I think that there's a little bit of a challenge coming up. It does feel like someone is kind of pulling themselves back a little bit. The Four of Swords can be just walking away, going to sleep, cutting the other person out. The Eight of Swords can indicate what the other person feels like. So again, I feel like it's seeing each other, making some time and space. Maybe you need a break from each other too with the Four of Swords. So taking a trip, seeing some friends, coming back, or taking a trip together if you want to spark the flame. There's something about distance that has to be fixed in the existing ones. And someone may not be working hard enough, sorry to say. With the Four of Swords, it's in the environment, so it's probably the other person, but it feels like something's not there. They're not showing up. They're not putting in the same effort. So just work on equal effort for both parties and work on equal communication. And for new relationships, go past the chemistry. For old relationships, rekindle the chemistry, because sometimes you forget about that it's still important to kind of make that other person have butterflies and things like that. Okay, finally, oh, by the way, last thing here, no one should dim your light. So if we have the Shine card and it's reversed, if someone can't let you be what we see here, then that's more than enough indication that it's time to move forth and try something different. Okay, let's look now at the final card here. We have Skill, And destiny here is showing you how you can get to this trajectory here. So focus on building your skills, focus on trusting what you've done to get to this point. And with the 9 of Pentacles, it tells me that whatever you achieve is well worth it and sustainable. So work hard. Some of you might decide to go back to school, take a certification course, try something different. All of it looks pretty good to me here with the skill card. So this is a time to develop, to change, to shift your skills a little bit, okay? Let's quickly talk. I'll do a mini review without pulling the camera. I'll pull it down for a second, but we're not going to go through everything because I want to go into the next part of the reading. So main messages here with the thread in the desert. Everything has to start somewhere, and you have to reach up and ask for help, which we saw with this. Emotions are really important, not just in work, but relationships this month. Visibility is also important, and reciprocity. Are people actually giving what you're giving? And if they're not, and they don't want to, then you want to listen to that and focus on something else elsewhere. Taking this idea that you have and doing something with it, don't let this languish, because the 4 of Swords and the Ace of Wands is a missed or an unrealized opportunity. The twin flame energy was actually more about codependencies or dependencies, and we talked about the Devil card and the Lover's card. They're very close in the illustration, but the difference is the demands or the control. You can't make someone feel that. Emotions are so strong here around the center that I really feel like you have to trust your emotions, and if someone else doesn't feel it, you have to kind of redirect emotions into something that is receptive, because if there's no receptivity, you're just wasting energy. So I want you not to waste energy. I want you to channel it into something that matters for you, okay? Focus on getting good sleep too. With relationships and decisions at work, trust your instinct, only do it if it feels right. We do see a growth potential here, which is important. We talked a lot about relationships. You should be able to shine. And if you're single and happy, this is just showing your magnetic quality here, which is great. Finally, skill building and skill development seem to be sort of like where you're headed. So no matter where you fall, these are important things to think about. I'm not going to review the channel messages today because we have 2 other mini readings and I don't want this to go too long. So I will capture all of that a little bit later on the on social media, and also I'll put it below in the description area. So let me quickly stack up the cards. And we're going to focus on what do you need to release in your life next. So because we're working with the dragon energy today, and the dragon energy had this sort of possibility to go to both, it was a dance of creation, but also we have to let go first. So death and creation, death and rebirth, death and recovery, however you want to look at it. We're going to look at what you can let go of here. And I'm not going to pull health, wealth, love, and destiny. What I might do with this is do past, present, future, but let me just pull the cards and I'll get everything set up. Thank you. So great to see so many people here. If you missed any part of this, you can watch it immediately afterwards on replay. So we just did a general. Now we're going to focus on how you can let go of something, or if you're trying to start something new, how you can kind of just get into that energy a little bit more. We're going to go much deeper in a second when we go more into creation, but sometimes when you're letting go, it's sort of like this imposter syndrome where you feel like, is it really me? Can I do this? Etc. So let's try to release things that are from the past or holding us back, somehow not letting us become who we need to be. I'm using a little Prince deck for this one. We'll quickly look at past, present, future for this. Let me use a different deck for that. So how can we let go of things, cycles, energies that are holding us back? How can we release so that we can leave room for creation? Okay. So we'll start with these past, present, future messages. The first, and this is the imposter syndrome thing that can come through, we have judgment reversed, just like in tarot. This is saying, I know it, but I don't believe it. Or there's been a decision that's been made, but for some reason, I can't accept it just yet. So I would love for you to, whatever you're deciding to do, whether it's leave someone or start something new or whatever it is that you're kind of getting out of, that was a good decision. Sometimes we don't get to make the decision. Someone else can make it for us, right? And this is still saying, well, I didn't choose it, but I'm going to trust that it was for my best interest. So for those of us who have lost a job or who have had to move and we weren't ready for it in whatever way, shape, or form, or if we lost someone, this is definitely judgment reversed, because in a traditional judgment card, you would see people rising from the grave, but judgment reverse is like, I wasn't ready to let them go. It's too soon. It's not fair. Why did you do it, God? These are normal things that people feel when someone is taken away from them. And what you want to do with that is to release that feeling of that you are being punished. You know, truth be known, that energy of the person or the situation, it's about them, not so much about you. And it was their time, it was their choice, or it was sort of just divinely decreed. So this is about releasing the judgment on the divine here. It's actually, no, this is a situation. I can't control this anymore. I can't stay in the energy of that either. So this is just basically saying, I accept the change which is happening. I accept that I did what I accept my part, and also I accept that I couldn't control everything. I couldn't make someone stop drinking or stop smoking. Sometimes that can lead to, you know, someone's demise or whatever. So you can only control so much, right? So this is understanding what you did do and what you couldn't do. And then now focusing instead on what you want to do and what you can affect in the future. And then relationships in the present are having much more of an impact on the success of release, because this is mostly about release. So I'm attracted to those people who serve my higher good. This is what I was talking about before when I was saying in the dream that I had with the Six of Wands, people who come to you as you're changing, after you've changed, or when you're at your worst, and support you nonetheless. Those are your true friends. That's what you're seeing right now, is the revelation of people that really get what you're trying to do. Are you happy? This is what it should all be about. The change that you're making in your life should be to get you to the happy place, right? So this is the goal. This is the key and the conduit. And this is the block. A feeling that I can't, I won't, or it's not fair, or it's not going to happen, etc. Let's move quickly through this so that we can look at how you can create change, but we have to understand what could be blocking you first. So we have the Eight of Wands at the center. And I like the Little Prince deck because this one comes through as a communal card, which is really cool. You don't always see that in all decks. And this means that you don't have to do it on your own. And together we're stronger, which is why we're doing a collective today, than if we just do it all on our own. So don't be afraid to connect with others. And if there are people around you that you feel like you're lost in the shuffle, or they're not paying attention to you, this is also reminding you that you're just as bright as that torch at the center. So remember when in the last one that we had that shine card with relationships. Here we go. Shine. So show your light, shine, so that people can see you. If it's a true match energetically, wherever you're at, they're going to celebrate that, and they're elevated through that. So you want to be around good people. I would consider myself lucky if I had a bunch of friends that were amazingly successful and doing even better than me. I would talk to them. I'd say, how's it working? Tell me about this. I wouldn't be jealous. I would just say, wow, this is really great. And it inspires me. Okay. So be inspired, be inspirational. And Eight of Wands is a great card. It's saying, get into the action of creation. Busyness. For a business that's trying to jump back into recovery, that's actually a good card, because it shows me a lot of people coming. And if by the way, if you are like a gig worker or a business, the difference between Eight of Cups and Eight of Wands. Eight of Cups is someone that might come back every 3 or 4 years, or every 3 or 4 months, every 3 or 4 weeks. But Eight of Wands would be like the daily customer. It's a really good card. So I'm seeing things pick up and be a lot more sort of like consistent. So let's just kind of broadly stroke this for everyone. The message here is, are you consistent? Because it's reversed. Are you moving and working and putting energy into things consistently? If you are, then you're going to be okay. All right. So next card, Six of Pentacles. Six of Pentacles is really a decision here of what I want to do and how soon I want to do it. You can't do everything that you want with the Six of Pentacles, but you can do everything that you need. You can't always do it in the time that you want, but you can still do it. So this is a very different illustration for the Six of Pentacles. But what we see with the little sheep here is, and the coins over his head, I'm kind of picking up on it. It's sort of like, you don't want to, I mean, you have to dream it before you do it. But the other thing here is, You can't have your head in the clouds when it comes to how you're spending time, energy, and money. Normally, this card would be someone holding the scales or holding their coins and deciding this, not this, now, not then. And so what I'm seeing here is a daydreamer. And in order to make things happen, you have to be a lot more connected. So when we're in the element of change, death, transformation, this reading, we get lost in our heads sometimes, right? We're lost in the past, we're lost in the fear, we're lost in the uncertainty. Ground yourself in what it is you want to do. Look at the numbers, look at the goals, meditate, and figure it out. You got to get balanced, basically. So we have consistency. Are you consistently doing what you need to do? And then we have the balance. And how is the community around you affecting you? Are they positive or are they pulling you back? Because the relationships, it's not an accident that that was at the center. That's what's going to either lift you or kind of push you down. We want to be lifted up. We have the World card in the reverse. This is what we were talking about, a change that was major, that has happened. We've all been through the world reversed collectively. That was 2020. And we're still kind of in it in 2021. It's a cleanup card, just like the Tower reverse would be. What you want to be focusing on is not like, oh my God, this all changed. Instead, focus on, well, wait, I still have a lot to love. Six of Cups is joyful, playful. It's leaning on the close and meaningful relationships in your life. If I had to choose between Eight of Wands and Six of Cups, I would choose Six of Cups when it comes to like recovery, because this would be someone that could really be with you and there for you. That's like brother, sister, best friend. And you have that somewhere in your life, or you have the capacity to bring in someone like that. So don't lose track of who's important and what's important. And out of this whole group, there may just be one person that really, really matters. So spend the time and energy. This is the spending card on that person, and it's touching the Six of Cups. We have the Five of Cups in the crowning position. And this is also a perspective card. So yes, some things have been lost. Yes, some things may not have felt fair. Yes, you may be valid in feeling all of these things, but there's still a lot there waiting for you. And in this card, this particular illustration, we see that he has more than he's lost. There's more to gain than what has been lost. So it's a season of your life. It's a season of change, but seasons change. So it's time to shift into the next sort of fruitful season. Okay, we'll kind of focus on the energy of spring, creation. Six of Swords, another card. Like I said, we've got the four, now we have the six. These can be lost. This can be distancing. This can be a questioning of like, why can't I get back there? Whatever that was. With the Six of Swords, sometimes you can, but as we look at the ego, this is really saying, as I saw with the dragon earlier, the changes made in your life right now, the sacrifices that you experienced are making you stronger. So it may actually be better if that, whatever that was, doesn't come back. An old job, an old friend, an old love, because you're more yourself now without that. And as we look in the environment, what you're supposed to be doing is seeing the higher you, the higher good. The Hermit, this is a fantastic illustration of the Hermit. Normally we see the person sort of carrying the lantern, the Hermit. In this case, the light's in the star, and I always say the Hermit carries the star. So we see a little bit of the lantern here, but we also see this person looking at the stars up above. It's interesting that the Hermit's very young in this one, the little prince, but I would say as we get older, we forget about that truth that we always have the light. So we have to look farther and look further out there, but it's actually right there. So I'm getting another metaphor as I look at this, which is it's not so far out there in the galaxy. It's right there in front of you. What you're looking for is right in front of you. That's what this is saying. So maybe the answer is right there. It could be the person next to you. It could be what you found yourself doing, even if you didn't think that was what you're supposed to be doing. It's right there. It's in front of you. All right, we have the Wheel of Fortune. Yay. A lot of really positive money cards and resource cards for you, I have to say today. You haven't been getting a lot of lower sort of energy ones or lower numbered ones here. So we have the Wheel. And the Wheel, to me, just like the World card, can indicate changing seasons. It can be 1 year. It can be sometimes 10 to 12 months, because we got the number 10 on it. But I sometimes just see it as a full year. So sometimes it'll say the Wheel of the Year in addition to Wheel of Fortune. And the World card shows definitely a movement through things. So you're on a new cycle. It could be 1 to 2 years, because this is 21. So you might be on this new cycle that's starting 1 to 2 years of growth, of change, of movement. We have the Chariot once more, but now this is the outcome. And notice how he's being led by his dreams, by his hope, by his faith, I look at all the doves, and to me, I interpret that as his faith. So one last look over your shoulder at what was, and then focus solely on what will be, what you can create. So let's summarize a little bit, and then we're going to move on to the creation energy. So you have to believe in yourself, and you have to believe in what's going on, or no one else will. It's okay to be angry about things, but don't think that the world is working against you. The universe has your back. I actually have like an oracle deck called that, and I like the title of that. It does. We're always being led. In this particular deck, we see the doves on the chariot. This is kind of interesting. Synchronicity. It's not accidental. And if I go back to the deck that we were just using, and we look at the chariot, lo and behold, we have a dove card, right? So you've got divine guidance right now. It looks like it picks up. Looks like the storm is done. Looks like it's nicer weather, and looks like you're taking off and taking flight. So once you take control, it feels like everything starts to happen. So step up in your life and have more of a voice. And I feel like that's going to be really important in this next new chapter. Other things for release, again, as we look at the cards really briefly before we go into creation. This is about knowing that there's a lot of people in your life, but I feel like the energy is really around the core relationships. Less is more when it comes to community, but you have a lot of help there. Consistency is key. And then not having your head in the clouds is so important too, because what you have and need is right in front of you. We have a lot of energy around death and rebirth here, but ultimately you are supposed to be more in control, more empowered. This is healthier for you. Just keep the perspective of the opportunity that's in front of you. All right, I'm going to reset now, and we're going to take a look at what I think is the more important of all of these, which is how can you step into the energy of creation? What's coming through that is going to allow you to really breathe life into something. And then we'll get into the meditation, and then maybe I'll pull a final card at the end if there's a question that I didn't answer here in today's general. So I'm just kind of looking and seeing which card should we use. I'm going to use the Light Seers one because I like this one. All right, so I keep seeing questions about the cards. You can see them on my website, but I've used Prisma Visions, the Little Prince, and I'm using Light Seers now. I don't always go into that because this isn't really an advertisement for cards. It's messages that I'm bringing through. All right, let's take a look now at how you can step into the dance of creation, how you can be more receptive, because if I go back to the energy, it was supposed to be like receiving the opportunity that comes through. There's Judgment one more time. Judgment and Justice. Very interesting. We'll talk about that. Just like the Five of Swords and the Seven of Swords, they're kind of like sister cards. They'll come through a lot in pairs like that. Okay. Let's do the same treatment here with past, present, future influences on how to step into the dance of creation. In other words, how to create after a period of stagnation. All right. Lots of synchronicities with this particular read today. So past influences, we just looked at it, didn't we? Death. So this was how to get past the stagnation or death. It says, I'm learning that endings are merely beginnings. Great caption for the card. It makes perfect sense. And also this looks like it's attached to root chakra, maybe a little bit of second and third as well. So we're focusing on feeling safe, expressing ourselves, and being able to express our powers if we look at the external on this. So the death energy that came through the loss helped us find our security, helped us find our trust, helped us find our balance. Present energies surrounding what we're looking at here with creation, which is love. It all comes back to love. It's the universal currency of the universe. I commit to the practice of seeing the good in all things, but also you should love what you're doing, who you are, and you should just sort of try to use your heart's energy as much as possible here as well. One thing to avoid for the future is this release of pride. I love myself. I see myself in everyone. I would say also I'm not too proud to ask for assistance, to seek out different paths, to admit that I could have done better. So it's, yes, I take pride in what I do, but yes, I'm not afraid to admit when I need help or I've done something poorly. So finding that balance, Pride and Prejudice, right? Trying to figure that out. All right, let's look at the cards here one by one, and then we'll get into our meditation in just a few minutes here. I think we're tracking well on time despite doing 3 different readings here. 10 of Wands at the center. And I love this interpretation of the 10 of Wands because you can infer from the fact that she's walking down the hill that the best is yet to come and the worst has kind of already happened here. So she's climbed the hill, she's made it down, and I'm really curious where she's headed next. So you've earned this opportunity, and it should continue to get better after this moment. So if you've been through a hard spell, I see something good on the horizon. I also love how she's sharing the load here. Like we have this bull or cow, I think, that's carrying all of her stuff. She's not doing it alone. Normally we see the 10 of Wands as a very burdened card. The person's like barely getting up the hill. She's down the hill and she's learned the energy and the lesson of basically delegating, which we saw, 3 spreads ago or whatever with the 7 of Wands. So definitely a good message here. You've got this, and some good things are ahead of you. Let's talk for a second about judgment and justice. So justice is upright. So I feel like you've either made the decision or you're accepting the decision. Judgment is usually a decision that's made that you have a hard time accepting. Justice is when you have to make the decision. You might be dealing with a combination of both. Like, I didn't expect this and now I have to do this. But I see you at this ability to sort of like find the balance, make the decision, and trust what you know. You already know it with judgment. It's a very, to me, it's a very psychic card, but sometimes we try to intellectualize the judgment card, and literally on it, usually you would see Gabriel blowing his horn or some archangel, and basically this recreation, resurrection sort of energy. Here we can see the higher self free. So what you know will free you is what we see here. And you've already moved into the next energy. This is also graduation. This brings you into another level. 10 of Wands gets you back into, now you would probably be climbing up to like the Prince or the Page card. So judgment is saying, I honor what I know, I see and understand that I need to do this, I'm gonna do this. That's why justice is on top. As long as you see it, as long as you believe it, you're in a really good place where you can also be it. But if you don't, then it will hold you back. Let's go into deep past here. 4 of Cups, much like the 5 of Cups, they're just different sort of levels of distraction. This one, there's a blessing right there. Usually you would see in Rider-Waite-Smith, a cosmic hand reaching out, showing a cup. It's saying things are either better than you think or not as good as you think over there. Be more present, find what's going on. It can also be the internal question, who am I? How did I get here? How do I get out of here? So if you're in that sort of question place, then just start to find the answers, talk to people, figure it out, do some research. But this can just sort of be malaise or boredom or jealousy that sets in where you look at other people. So be more present, be more grateful, and then take the initiative if you want to jettison out of a situation. It's a perfectly valid card. Sometimes we get bored with something. Okay, good. Now what then? It's going to take some work. So you'll have to then climb up the next hill if that's the case. Isn't it interesting? I mean, this could be anticlimactic energy. Once you've gone to the top, come down, you're like, all right, now what? I missed the challenge. So you could always find a new challenge if you want to. All right. We also have the 5 of Cups here. 5 of Cups, again, perspective. What do I have to lose? What do I have to gain? And that actually is just a great question for planning. What do I have to lose? Let's do it. Let's try it. Seems like it's good. And I agree. Some of you may be at the precipice of separating or divorcing. Judgment and justice together definitely can be both of those. Neither is reversed, but judgment is on its side. So you might be waiting for someone else to accept how you feel. This is frustrating. If you're in that place, I get it. It's hard. Because when we look in the environment, we have the 10 of Swords, which would show communication is broken down, or someone's not listening. 10 of Swords is a full stop. It's not always pain. It can be. It can just be someone that makes you feel that energy of like, I want to argue, or they're not listening, or when you communicate, it doesn't accomplish something. All the more reason probably to move beyond that kind of situation. But if you're waiting for like a signature or something like that, it can be really difficult. So in that case, be persistent. I think persistence wins the race here. Eventually, if you send the same message enough, it should get through. But if not, this can also be about filing for a restraining order, or going and doing a lawsuit, or if you have to get the law involved, maybe that's something you have to do. Mostly, I see justice as balance, choosing a path for you that means that I am balanced, I am protected, I am ready. Okay. As we look in the near future, we have like a nice little glimmer here of why you're going through all of this sort of difficult stuff. New beginnings are sometimes harder than we think they will be. So sometimes you think, oh, I'm just going to move and everything will be easy. I'm going to start this new job and everything will be fixed. I just started dating this new person. My life is amazing. Actually, what can happen sometimes is it's just one more thing in there that's going to elevate all your emotions. So what we see here is that if you do the balance correctly, you're going to be fine. We see happiness, we see abundance, we see joy. It's worth the hard work. By not simply jumping, by not simply replacing, because we had the cookie jar metaphor before, you're going to be able to be fulfilled and then really be able to dance that dance of joy and creation, which is what we're trying to do. There's a little bit of resistance here. So sometimes when things start to get better after a period of ups and downs, we don't trust it. So if you make the right choices here, I would say trust it. You've earned that 9 of Cups moment. Celebrate, dance, be grateful, share that with other people in your life as well. Try not to go too far. Whenever I see 9 of Cups, it can be a little bit like too high or too low. So I think every day, take it with a grain of salt. If it's really good, see if it continues. If it's really bad, it's just one day. Try to kind of ride closer to the middle than kind of spiking up and down. And that's going to be easier for you. A couple of things to help you work through it, because really what I'm seeing is coping with change. That's what I'm picking up on as I look at these cards. Hey, Paul. We have the 9 of Swords reversed. So for some of you, it's this feeling of, how am I going to do this? Will it be okay? It's just fear, and it's in the ego. So it's not really you. It's more all of the crows that we see up there. Notice that we see sort of like one dove or one white crow, if that's even possible. But it feels like there's something positive, and you want to focus on this. This is just noise. This is just concern. So focus on what I can do, what I can be. And there's always going to be fear associated with it, just like the 8 of Swords. So I want you to move past the fear to get some rest and see what tomorrow brings. 10 of Swords also, like I said, is about communication. This is a really good 10 of Swords. She's past the drama. To quote Mary J. Blige, no more drama, right? She's moving on to greener pastures. There's no bloody body with 10 swords. She's been through it. You've been through it. You don't have to do this again. So what we're seeing now is I'm taking the higher road. That person over there may be trying to drive me crazy. Not going to work. I know where I've seen that movie. I saw the ending. Wasn't that good. So you're moving to the higher pastures, and you've actually learned through this 10 of Wands and this 10 of Swords have very similar energies. This person is over it. So you don't have to repeat it. It's a very optimistic 10 of Swords. I wish we had more like that. It's good to know the regular 10 of Swords meaning, but it's one thing that I like with this particular deck, right? So let's see what the next card is. We have the Page of Swords in reverse. All right. You're going to have to speak up, and you're going to have to maybe take the heat sometimes for what's going on here. We see all these little light bulbs that she's carrying, and she's walking a little bit of a tightrope, which we saw before, that string attached. But what I see here is someone who is leading with knowledge, leading with facts, who is very focused and is going to stick with those sort of factual things. That's what's going to keep you from getting into the 10 of Swords. Don't get emotional on that sort of stuff. Stick to the facts. Speak up for yourself if you need to. Make sure that you're being listened to, and make sure that you're listening as well. Pages reversed need to do a better job with the communication skills. The only thing that I see with this person is she should not be tiptoeing and reading the book. So focus on where you're going. This is how the person in my dream got lost in the airport. I'm all for multitasking, but not that much. So again, focus on the task or tasks at hand, right? And I just saw 4 ones. What a great message there. Okay, so we have the 5 of Swords here. And as an outcome, this is reminding you that you want to fight the fights worth fighting, but you don't have to take the bait and get involved in situations where there's a no-win sort of situation. So we see someone way back here that might be worthy of the time and energy, or might be the cause of some of this stuff. Let them deal with their own stuff. You focus on what you're doing, because what I see here is justice, as we hear the siren in the background. I see justice. You've earned this moment in time. I see joy and celebration. And then I also see this ability to move beyond drama and trauma. So this is just one more little test that's standing in the way. And it comes in the form of pride, because pride is good, being proud of what you do, but too much pride is not great. So if we focus on transformation and loving who you are, what you're doing, and also trying to show people love, that will transmute some of the swords cards that we got here so that you can be successful, balanced, and worthy of all the sort of changes that are coming in. But I see some challenges for you in just maybe accepting the change and making peace with the change. And I think once you can do that, you're going to be okay, right? Okay, this was exciting. We're going to move into a meditation, and then afterwards, I like to close all of my readings with a final card where I answer a question. It's like this: you'll psychically send me a question, and I'll pull a card, and I'll give you the answer. And since I don't do Q&A in the live read, this gives you a chance to get some clarity on something like, what's this relationship about? Should I move? Should I do this? I'll read it as a yes, no, but then I'll also take it a few levels deeper, even though I'll just be reading with one card. So for the meditation today, we're going to use a dragon energy. The dragon that I saw in my dreams was wielding swords. You're going to become the dragon. And what we want to imagine is that the swords are going to cut through things that you don't want in your life. So if you have a relationship energy where the person's been clinging on, if you have a sort of job situation where you just feel like it's toxic and you want to find a way out of it, if you feel like there's something else, like an old fear from your childhood that you're holding on to, we're going to get you into the energy of becoming this strong, powerful dragon. And then we're going to use the swords that it's wielding to cut the ties. You could imagine that it has multiple legs and it can cut all the swords at once if you would like to. You could also use the, I really didn't see fire with this one. I see the energy like of air, but you could imagine fire if you want. But you could just imagine that there's this gust of air that also blows away all obstacles in your path. So we'll work with those sort of metaphors here. Quick note before I get into the meditation: if you're new, welcome. Hit the subscribe button. I'm going to do two more videos this week, and they're not announced yet. So if you subscribe and opt into notifications, you can join me. If you've already done it, obviously don't hit it again. Same thing with the like button. And if you'd like to join me on social media, I know that my moderators have put the links up. Sometimes they're getting deleted because there's a bug, but on most platforms, I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. On Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, I use stories to remind you of upcoming videos. And I'm also on Twitter. You can go to my website to get all of those. That's Ashbaugh on Twitter. Okay, let's go ahead now and meditate, and then hold in your head whatever question you have for me, and I will read it after we meditate. Okay, so think of your question. Think of now, as we meditate, think of the obstacle that you want to remove. And in 2 minutes, I'll come back and we'll pull one more card before we wrap up. All right, so close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath. And then on the exhale, release your body, release your neck, release any sort of energy that you might be holding on to. For the neck, be gentle. Take a sort of slow movement to the left and to the right if you have a really sore neck. If you have a little more flexibility, you can imagine that you could gently roll it in one direction, either clockwise or counterclockwise, and then reverse it. It's not about how far or how fast. It's just about loosening up the neck a little bit, and give your shoulders a little bit of a massage as well. See yourself at the top of a mountain. Imagine whatever climate, whatever environment that you would like, but I really want you to just focus on the fact that you can see almost as far as an airplane, because if you are a dragon, which you are, which you're going to become, you're able to see the curvature of the earth. You're able to see all the way out, past the horizon, even out into space. You can just get this sense that the world is vast, but you are also a strong, ancient, timeless, ageless being that is capable of walking this planet with grace and with dignity. As you start to connect with the sun, with the moon, with the planet beneath you, triangulating between that energy, you feel this sense of strength and energy building within you. And because we're working with a wind dragon or an air dragon, this feeling that I can and I will and I'm capable of, it starts to lift you up. You feel a sense of lightness of being, and you close your eyes and just allow yourself to transform. And imagine that you are as beautiful as you would like to be, as large as you would like to be, as far as the dragon is associated. Pick whatever colors you want. And you can imagine that it's like a science fiction dragon, or more of like what we would see in Eastern mythology, where it's sort of like the serpent that has different legs. Whatever you want to imagine this dragon to be, because it's you, see it. And now imagine that you are holding wonderful symbolic swords that are capable of cutting through existing codependencies and any cords in your life that are pulling you back or stealing energy from you somehow, because that really doesn't happen. We allow energy to be taken or siphoned out. So in this moment, you're going to connect with your divine, feminine, dragon aspect and say, I choose to receive love and abundance in the highest forms and abundance overall, but I no longer choose to give it to these energies around me, which I've identified. You can see them all around you if you'd like to, this group of people, opportunities, habits, or thoughts. And simultaneously, because you have all of these arms and all of these swords, I just want you to imagine that you're going to start to gracefully dance or move in the air. And you could just imagine that you are gently cutting through each and every chord in a wonderful, graceful motion. And when you are finished with this, you can take a deep breath and you can absorb the sword into one symbolic ace that goes throughout the length of your body, becoming the sword, basically. There's something in Kundalini Yoga, Jai Gang, where there's this mantra that you can use where you cut through things. So we're kind of embodying that. But you are becoming not just the dragon, but the ace of swords. All the swords now become one. If there's anything left in your path, it cannot, it will not be able to confront you or become a block anymore. So imagine now that you are going to, as I'm meditating here, breathe and push away any sort of obstacles in your path, and then we'll close with the final card. So I'll play this for about a minute or two, and then during this time, I want you to imagine that you are just breathing and pushing away obstacles, and as you inhale, you're pulling in opportunities. Take one last deep breath, inhale. Imagine that you could go to the highest point of the atmosphere without getting into outer space. Take a look at the planet, exhale. Feel your energy is as light as a feather and as bright as a million suns here. And allow for your feather-like energy to gently descend into your crown chakra to integrate back with your human body. But now you're going to be carrying with you the dragon aspect that you have as well, this one that you've conjured up in your mind. Whoever in your life you no longer need or want, they are gone. They cannot come back in, and you're going to start to invite in higher frequencies, higher opportunities. Let's take a look at the final card for today. If you just joined, good timing. We're going to take a look now at a single card that will answer a question that you have. Don't type the question to me. Psychically think about what it is. You can imagine the person, the place, the thing, or the question. I'm going to shuffle the cards and we're going to see what the answer is. All right, we got the Lovers. So the Lovers card is great. It is reversed, but let's talk a little bit about it. As a yes, no, it's a yes. But it's a yes, ... but. What I would say with this is, with the card reversed, if it is about a relationship, it needs to be reciprocated. There needs to be more balance. because to me, there's even a little bit of, because we have like the beast here. This is like Beauty and the Beast reimagined, this card. So one thing that I would say with this is you shouldn't have to control the other person. A traditional strength card, even though it's not, there's an element of strength in this, is that you would try to like have someone say something, feel something, do something because of control. And one of the common elements that we saw in the last 2 readings was the Chariot card in different placements. I think it was at the center in one, and it was in the outcome at the center, at the last one rather. So the first one was about death. The second one was about rebirth. So you should be in control, and you shouldn't be trying to control, is what I'm seeing, like control emotions. So the key thing here is that let everybody kind of drive in their own lane. So if it's love, both people have to be on the same page. And if they're not, then you're not actually coming together, you're going apart. So there is love, there is a higher love, but there should be one that is reciprocated. So for relationships, if you were asking like, is this the person? I would say they're not there yet. But is love around the corner for you? Yeah, with this card. Now, if we take it out of and if you're in an existing relationship, it's about finding your way back to love. If you're single and happy, it's about the attractive energy that you have right now and what you want to do with it. And that's what I want to focus on. Okay, so Lovers reversed. Typically, if I see 10 of Cups reversed, Ace of Cups reversed, or the Lovers reversed, what it tells me is you give a lot to others. This is your time to receive. We were just focusing on receptive energy in that third Celtic cross that I was reading. So this is the final card saying, I'm ready and willing to receive. I don't have to give so much. And I want people to come to me too, not just the other way around. So hold space, allow that to come in, and believe that you are worthy. The only thing that would hold you back from that is that feeling that I am worthy of receiving this job, this opportunity, this experience. And then also holding on to something that was or couldn't come through. So someone that doesn't love you, someone that won't let go, something that is just kind of hanging on. We're going to release that now so that it can be the Lover's upright, which is really what the energy wants to be, which is love, strength, reciprocity, divinity. It's great. Love who you are, love what you're doing. Love needs to be in the equation. It seems to be off a little bit, so focus on bringing it back. And I think that's going to be the key thing for you. So it's a yes, semicolon, or ... but don't force the other person, don't force the outcome, and maybe not this, but something better. I definitely see a positive outcome, but I feel like with it reversed, you can't make something that it's not. And I think that's the key thing here. So I'm looking forward to the month ahead. It looks like we all have some really cool things around the corner. The Lover's card is really good for the next month or two. So love yourself, love what you're doing, receive love with gratitude, with life, with light rather. And then with people in your life, also remember to kind of give back appreciation. That was something that we saw a little bit earlier. All right, before I wrap up, thank you so much, everybody that's here. Thanks to Maria and Dakota. I appreciate you guys for helping moderate today. Sorry if anyone's messages were getting taken out by the Google moderators, because that's been happening time to time. Just want to say, if you're new here, please subscribe and like. And if you happen to watch this on replay, comment and share. It really helps the channel a lot, because engagement has been up, and that's been because you guys are, and discovery as well, because you guys are helping out with that. So every time you do something positive, a comment, a like, a share, it helps people find this, and that helps my work go a little further. So I appreciate it. Again, feel free to follow me on social media. You can click on the pinned message to get the links on my website. Thank you to everybody who's been really generous today with super chats. The reason that I'm able to have the singing bowl and all these different decks that I buy is because you guys continue to help. So thank you for that. On replay, you can use the applaud button if you would like. You can also become a member. I see we just got a new channel member, so welcome. Channel membership gives you special emojis, access to Q&As, and also it highlights your name in chat so I can see you. You can also join me on Patreon if you don't want to pay the amount on the join button. You can do like $1 on Patreon. You don't get the emojis though. There's some perks with that membership. So if you want to become a member, you can click the join button. There's also a PayPal link on my website if you'd like. I have a book if you're into sci-fi and fantasy, otherwise probably not your cup of tea. But if you like Lord of the Rings or Dune, you could check this out. It's definitely a meatier read. The book is right back there, the luminous ones. So again, you'd have to be kind of like a fan of Tolkien probably to like it. But if you do, it's written from the perspective of a psychic, and I think you would enjoy the intuitive messages there as well. All right. Thank you, everyone, for your love and light, for your presence today. As I said, I'm going to do a couple of additional videos this week. One is about Apollo. I need to finish editing that. And I may do one around dreams or some other sort of intuitive development towards the end of the week. So if you've opted into notifications, you should receive an update about that. In the meantime, have a great rest of the weekend or week ahead, depending on when you're watching this. And I'll see you guys soon. All right, bye-bye. By the way, I'll be back again. I think this Sunday marks the next new month. So let me double check. Yeah, so on Sunday the 2nd, I should be starting again with Aries. So I'll announce the schedule next week. Okay, take care, everybody. Thank you so much, and have a great one.